Welcome to Punchboard Paradise. I'm Chad.
Hey, I'm Clef.
Now I'm Richie.
And today we're going to be giving you a review of the new expansion to Alexander Pfister's Great Western Trail game called Rails to the North. We'll start out with Clef giving you a rules overview, and then we'll all come back to the table and discuss what we thought of the game.
I'm going to just give you a quick overview of Great Western Trail Rails to the North expansion. So in the box is going to come a new top to the board, which will be a new way to deliver your goods when you get to Kansas City. It's going to come with a couple of new buildings, some new bonus tiles, a new auxiliary action, some new station tiles, and a new token that is going to be a draw to, discard to token. Okay, so here's the new top to the board. As you can see, it has a kind of a inset here, so when you lay it down, it clicks right on top of the new board, which is really nice. It's not like you have to kind of have it swaying all over the place. It kind of just clicks right in place there. So you did have the old delivery where you used to come here to Kansas City. You could deliver all the way from Kansas City up to San Francisco. Now you kind of move that over there, so you have new row of deliveries, which now start in Kansas City and now go to New York. And then obviously you have the new top part of the board here where you're going to be able to deliver to. Really the train remains the same. It's still the same track here, and you'll still have your normal station tiles down here. Okay, so this is the new top of the board. And like I said, this is going to be your new line of deliveries. And then you're going to have areas up here. There's actually 6 different colored areas of spots where you're going to be able to move up these new towns that you're going to place up onto these train tracks. All right, so there's the new auxiliary action that will now be added to the bottom of your player board. It will have a new ×1 action to start with, and the ability to remove a disc just like the other auxiliary actions. The only difference with this auxiliary action is it does cost you $2 to remove the disc when you first are able to remove it. The new auxiliary action is discard one of your value 2 cattles, so either the green, the yellow, or the black one, and then that's going to allow you to take one of these houses off of your player board that is then going to be able to be moved to the top part of the new board. When you obviously remove one of your other discs, you may now discard 2 of the level 2s, and you're able to remove 2 of these and put 2 of them up. They do also have a bell on them, and that I will explain what the bell means here in just a moment. Okay, so when you pull a house off of your board, you're going to have an opportunity to place it up in the new delivery sections. When you start off with, you're only going to have a hub in Kansas City. When you start off in Kansas City, the only option you have is one spot up here, and you're always going to have to stop at the first 4-way square that you have an opportunity to go to. And in Kansas City, the first one is only there. But then after that, you are going to have options the next time you place one out that you can go off on the one train track over to another square, or you can go onto this one and go to this square. So then you kind of have options of which way you want to go. So if I decided I wanted to build off of this one, I could come up here and build off of this one and place my house here. Each square has 4 spaces. That's for the 4-player game. You may only go to each space one time. Okay, so now these spaces, what do they do? Well, there's a few different spaces that are here available when you build your house. Some of them are just kind of areas that you have to go to get to more areas. And then some of them are going to be areas that now you have an option to deliver to. So if I have placed my house here above Memphis, I now, when I go to Kansas City, have an option for a new city to deliver to. And you can see it has a value of 3. So if I go to Kansas City, if I have at least a value of 3 or more, and I have a house here, I can now place one of my discs onto Memphis as a delivery. Still have the restrictions that I can only do it once per game. I still have Kansas City and San Francisco are still the only 2 places you can deliver to more than once. But when I deliver here to Memphis, it now gives me 2 coins immediately, and it gives me a bonus card that I get to draw. As you can see up here, if I was in Denver, Denver allows me, if I had a house up here, First of all, you can see there's money values here, so that this is how much you have to pay. The earlier you get there, the cheaper it is. But then you place your disc there in Denver. It doesn't give you any abilities, but for only 8, it allows you to pull one of your discs that is on one of the black outlined areas to be able to go there. So then you can see here Milwaukee, same thing, is going to be 11 to get there, but it's also the black outline disc, but this one will give you 3 coins and a bonus card. Then the other tiles that we have here are bonus tiles. Now these bonus tiles are for everybody. Once again, if you get there, you automatically are going to get whatever the bonus is. These are random. There are 5 different ones in the game, 5 different ones, and there's 10 total. There's 2 of each. So if I was to go here, this gives me the symbol of I'm allowed to hire a worker, and I'm going to get $2 to hire that worker. So basically $2 left to hire a worker. Over here, this one says I get to build a house, and I don't have to pay my craftsmen any money. However, I still have to have a certain number of craftsmen for whatever building I'm going to build. I then have one that gives you just straight 3 movement on your train. I have another one here that gives you either $5 or you get to get a level 3 cattle from the cattle market, or finally one that just lets you cull 2 cards from your hand and remove them from the game. So those are going to be randomly distributed throughout the board. And like I said, when you first go there, you get that bonus. It is an immediate thing. You can only still go to each one of those bonus spots one time. Now the other thing is new places to go for station tiles. Like in the original game, when you pull your train into a station, this is the same type of thing. The moment you build a house here, you have an option of spending whatever coin it says, then to place one of your discs there. At the end of the game, you'll get 6 points for that. And then as an extra, if you have someone on your player board that you can remove and place where this station tile is, you are going to be able to take this station tile and put it into your area. So just like the original game, it just happens to be that there's a new spot to get some station tiles. There's also some random spots throughout the board that are going to, especially if you're the first one to get there, you might get 2 coins. There are some areas throughout the board that are going to give you that new draw 2 times 2 token that I talked about, so you can get more of those. And there's also going to be spots where you can get temporary certificates that you can add to your board. Now the last one here that I didn't talk about on the board is going to be San Francisco. And San Francisco, just like the original game, you can deliver to multiple times. And for each disc that you have here, you are going to get 2 points for every bell you have revealed. So if you remember with the bells, when you pull off 3 houses, it's going to unveil a bell. So every single time you do that, that's a new bell. If you actually end up getting all of your houses off, there are 5 bells that will be revealed. So you can actually score 10 points per disc that is in San Francisco. You will notice also that the board down here is a lot different for the different delivery areas. And now if you're in like some good spots that used to be up in the 6s and the 10s, if you put a disc on both 6 and 10, you will lose 5 points, but you will gain a draw 2, discard 2, so hopefully make your hand better. And there are some spots you're going to get bonus cards, and then down here there are spots where you're going to earn victory points for at the end of the game. The last new destination on the bottom part now is going to be New York City. And the nice thing about New York City now, it only gives you 3 points, but you're actually going to be allowed to, you're going to randomly leave 4 of the station tiles up on beside New York City, and you're going to be able to pick one of these station tiles. You don't have to put a person up there or anything. You just get one and you get to put it in your play area. Then the next person would be able to pick from 3, and so on and so on. Once again, you can only go to New York City one time. So then the last bit of what you get is, like I said, you get a new building. There's actually if you have the promo tiles, you'll get one of the promo tiles again, so you'll have extra of that. But the brand new building is, for every bill you have revealed, you're going to get a temporary certificate and $1. Or the B side is, for every craftsman you have, you get $1, and then you get to place out a house off of your board. Then the new station tiles, one allows you to pull a house off your board. And then it says for every one of the ×2, draw 2, discard 2 tiles, you get 5 points for it at the end of the game. This one here says you get a ×2 token right away, and then for every area, different area on the board that you were in, you get 2 points for it at the end of the game. Like I said, there's 6 different areas. And then finally, there's one that just gives you 2 temporary certificates, but it says for every house you built, you get 2 points for at the end of the game. So the last thing here is the ×2 token. So as I said, it's draw 2, discard 2. Obviously, that's an auxiliary action that you're able to take, but this is now just a tile that you can use at any time. So for instance, let's say you're about ready to go into Kansas City and you're one short or something somewhere you want to go. You can always discard this, draw 2 cards, discard 2, and hope to get the right cattle that you're looking for to go into Kansas City. And you can use them as many as you want. So if you had 3 of them and you needed to discard one and it didn't work, you could do another one and another one as many times as you have them. Just once you use them, then they're spent. Okay, so there was a brief overview and the components for Great Western Trail, Rails to the North. Let's head on over and see what we thought about it. Richie, what were your thoughts on the expansion?
I loved it. I thought it was a great addition to the game. It adds just enough to make it new and fresh for people who have played it before. But it doesn't add a lot of rules, and that's the type of expansions I like, something that you can fold in just real quick and easy.
All right. Chad, what was your thoughts on it?
Well, I haven't played the base game even as much as both of you have, but I do own it and really enjoy playing it. I will say that what this adds is a very welcome expansion to the game rules, but I don't necessarily feel that I'm going to need to play with it every time. I think it's great if you've played a lot of the base game and want to kind of take a different tack to the game, let's say. But I definitely enjoyed my plays.
Well, and as you just alluded to, I have played this game a lot. I mean, this is my number 1 game of all time, and I've probably played it 40 plus times. So I really, really enjoy it. So it was really nice to have something new. And I thought it was pretty neat. Before, the base game, you just have that one row that you're kind of delivering to. Well, now this branches out. Now you have all these new ways and different ways to deliver. And it made the game feel very different for me, yet I still feel like I'm playing my same base game of Great Western Trail. So I thought it was amazing. I really liked it. Richie, what did you think about the building strategy? Do you feel like it improved at all? Because that's one complaint we've always kind of had is the building strategy just didn't work if somebody was going straight cowboys and cattle. Do you feel like that helped it?
I think it's still a little underpowered, definitely. Because, we played that game where I went cowboys, you went building, and you still lost by a few points, but in the base game, you would not have even come close.
Right.
But, the added station tile that gives you points for the buildings helped out a lot. There's a couple extra buildings that you get that will give you money for your craftsmen. So I think it helped a little bit, but it's still underpowered.
Right.
I would kind of equate it to Alexander Pfister's other game, Mombasa, which, if people are familiar with that one, there's a small mini expansion to that called Cooking the Books, and there is a book track in that game, and it's very hard to do, but with Cooking the Books, it makes it slightly more viable, even though it's still very difficult, and I think this is sort of akin to that.
Right. I mean, it has that new station tile that does give you 2 points additional for each building that you build. So that at least helped, and that's in the game we played. I had that tile, and it at least got me close. And it does give you a couple of other spots to be able to build, and you actually don't even have to pay your craftsmen to build the buildings. So it helped it out a little bit. Maybe not as much as I was kind of hoping, but I still think it helped it out. And I'm interested to continue to try to see what I can do with that strategy. So do you feel like this new auxiliary action that you have to take, do you feel like that it's almost that's what you have to do every single time you take an auxiliary action?
Yeah, you can't ignore it. If you ignore that top part, I don't know how you would win the game.
Right.
It does seem like this auxiliary action becomes almost the only auxiliary action you're taking until all of your buildings are out.
Right.
Maybe you might use the one that lets you trade in the cards, but now with the new tokens, I don't see even the point of that. So you
Yeah.
it really does take over.
And that's what I was saying earlier. Kind of when you play with this expansion, it directs you to play the expansion. If you don't get in there, you're just not going to have a chance of competing, and that's fine. That's why I said this is just another way to play the base game. Which, as Richie said, those kind of expansions can really be welcome.
Right, yeah. I played a game last night where one of the people tried to ignore doing the going up here and putting buildings. And about, not even that far into the game, they realized there's no way. You have to do it. There's no way you can just ignore it. So that is one thing that I'm a little bit like, that auxiliary action now, that is the one that you're doing every time. But it does make, before, I didn't even stop at those neutral buildings half the time that gave the auxiliary action because they just weren't good enough. It now makes me have a reason to stop at those. So I do like that part of it.
Right. It's always nice when it makes you look at things from the base game in a different way and use them in a different way. So,
Did you notice that at least for me, I feel like I'm hiring less people doing this. Did you notice that?
Yeah, I don't know why, but I've definitely. I mean, at the end of the last game we played, I had no people at the very end, and I usually will, at least score some points for having all the people in one row.
Right.
I think it becomes more important to get the cards out and get the money, for example, and so the other things as a priority just sort of the hiring of the people sort of fall by the wayside. That's what it seemed like to me.
Yeah, maybe there are a couple of North Station spots, so you do lose an extra person if you go use those, but still, I'm not sure why that is. But yeah, that's something I definitely noticed. Now, I will say my favorite part of the game is, and what you kind of talked about a second ago, is these draw 2, discard 2 tokens. Yeah. This part right here is ingenious, whoever thought about this part, because I always had that moment where I had to go to Kansas City. I had no choice, and I'm one short of, doing something cool. And now you have these tokens that you at least have that one more chance to draw something that you then get up to the number or whatever. Did you like these tokens?
I loved them because in the base game it's hard to get through your deck.
Yeah.
And with this and a couple extra spots out there that will allow you to kind of cycle through your deck quickly.
Yeah.
Weren't there a couple more things to let you cull your deck in this expansion as well, or?
Yeah, the bonus spots out there that they have, a couple of them do let you cull your deck. I'm not always a big fan of culling my deck in Great Western just because there's so many spots that even the jerseys, you can ditch a couple and get coins and stuff like that. But it does give you that option if you did want to kind of go that route for sure.
Yeah, definitely.
So, all right, Richie, what are your final thoughts on this expansion?
Like I said, I love the expansion. I think it folds in nicely with the base game. Doesn't add a lot of rules, but it makes things interesting, especially if you played it a lot. So, I mean, for me, it's a must-buy. It's something that I don't see a reason not to play with it, and I will always teach it. Even when I'm playing with new people to the game, I'll just teach them the expansion at the same time. Okay,
so 100% a must-buy. Okay, Chad, what's yours?
I really enjoyed my plays with the expansion. I would say that for me, I have pre-ordered it. I'm going to be happy to own it, but I'm not always going to play with it. So for me, if you are a huge fan of the game, then definitely get the expansion. If you like the game and enjoy your few plays of it, then maybe you don't need the expansion. I'd say maybe it's a try before you buy sort of thing. So,
for me, 100% must buy. This absolutely makes me feel like I'm still playing Great Western Trail, but there's a whole new feeling and decision making that I get, and I just absolutely love it. I think they did a great job with it. 100% must buy. If you're a Great Western Trail fan, go out and get this expansion. It is amazing.
Thanks for listening to this video. If you want more Punchboard Paradise, please like and subscribe. Also, comment below. We're a podcast as well, so you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, be it iTunes or Podcast Addict or any of those. We're Punchboard Paradise. And you can also find us in the links below at our Instagram, Twitter accounts, and Facebook pages. Thanks so much.